Jamie here. JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. Tuesday, July 22nd, 9:07 a.m. Sorry for the late start here. I'll talk really quick about the market. Some names I'm looking at go from there. Futures are back slightly into the green. NASDAQ futures are pretty much flat here on this Tuesday. Not much in a way. Catalyst. Fed Chair Powell speaking in Washington, but he already just said he's not going to talk about policy and or his resignation or all that chatter that's going on. So that kind of removes a potential catalyst for today. But outside of that, is not much, right? Yesterday, markets chopped around, opened at highs, rallied to highs into the early, late morning, and then afternoon we kind of melted. Found some weakness later in the afternoon, but market still closing the green, 0.5% trading range. Yields dropped. The U.S. dollar did drop too, but to me, the yields, right? The 30-year want to see that stay under that 5% handle. And let's see, I didn't even see what the U.S. dollar is here today. Okay, well, dollar. Oh, yields are up. Okay, and sorry about that, folks. And the dollar is flat as a pancake. Um, so not much today outside of maybe more trade headlines. You have Besson already talking. There's going to be some deals announced, but I mean they've been saying that for forever. This morning, GM reported earnings. Right? Oh my gosh, $1 billion tariff hit, and there's hey me, I keep saying at some point you got to think there's going to be a little inflation, but I don't think people aren't expecting, especially if you don't agree with the policies. People are expecting like runaway inflation, costs are going to go crazy, car prices are going to go through the roof. I'm scanning through like articles back in May, and you look at some of these articles and it'd be like, um, despite tariffs, car prices aren't shooting up, but that's not necessarily a good thing. This is an article from back in May, right? And then they cite that that we're in a recession already and all that stuff. But this, here we are in July, and all that stuff hasn't shown up yet, right? So, uh, also back in May, GM had, after the spat with Canada and whatever, GM had to issue a shareholder letter saying, hey, there might be like a 5 billion hit on tariffs. But to me, it's like a lot of folks who are anti-tariff are also anti-corporation, right? The United Healthcare, all those companies that are raking in billions of dollars. These CEOs are horrible. Their pay packages are horrible. Give billions back. The to they just do buybacks and dividends. The average person doesn't just doesn't make it. It just horrible, right? It's horrible for the economy. All these companies, all they do is generate billions of profits, and that's that. But then now all of a sudden GM is paying $1 billion in profits. It's going to tariffs, right? Somehow that'll be construed as a bad thing. But oh my gosh, if just think like if some of these companies start show signs that I mean, if that's a theme this earnings season, they start eating some of the tariffs or most of the tariffs or all the tariffs, and the stocks hold up because they kind of set that expectation or was baked in. I mean, wow, that'd be pretty good stuff, right? So it's funny. It's like you want corporate tax, right? To some companies like Verizon, right? I think they have a 0% tax rate or effective tax rate or whatever they do with their accounting shenanigans. But it'd be funny if they eat if companies eat tariffs, but they don't get taxed, but now they're getting taxed. So it's kind of funny how that they are, but they aren't, all right. So anyway, lots of stuff especially over the last like 24 hours, people posting all these negative headlines in regards to the market. Today on Market Watch, which is always a good kind of precursor, or whether it's comedic relief, sometimes they have good stuff. Again, I try to read all different sources, but this morning it's the stock market has been running low on investors who want to sell. That might be starting to shift. So, and then the chart, spoiler alert, but the chart just shows parallels between market sell-offs and the amount of declining volume, meaning how much volume is in these and sell off. So names that are selling off, the volume's low, meaning there's not a lot of sellers. Means that's the calm before the storm, I guess, is the rationale. So that was the article on the Wall Street. No, on Market Watch this morning. Also, the other is the amount of put to call ratio, right? Oh, we were at highs not seen since 2021, the end of 2021. Again, I'm not trying to dismiss these. To me, I'm like in cautious phase here. I would not be surprised that whether we get to 635 and have a pull, or yesterday was the highs. I don't know, but I would not be surprised to see some kind of like 1% pull one day. We just wake up, there'd be a gap down or something to effect, and maybe hopefully it gets bought. But also of note is that 20-day moving average, right? I think it's 60 plus days now on the Nasdaq and the S&P that they've been trading over their 20-day moving average. And typically, and when it goes to the S&P, it's 90% of the time the markets are down 4 sessions later. Well, actually, it's 78% of the time and over 1%. 3 days later, it's 90% of the time. So Always keep that in the back head. But tomorrow, Tesla, Google, Intel, not Intel, IBM, Chipotle. I think Thursday's Intel. So lots of earnings. Service now. So it should be a fun day tomorrow. All right, so that's kind of overall markets, and you take a look at the SPY. The upper Bollinger Bands is 634 and change, so maybe some upside there. My range 621 to 636. I put it on the watch list, maybe 627 or so. If the markets find weakness today and breaks under that, I might look for a put hedge or two. Not really for protection. I'm not sitting on a boatload of calls. Thankfully, a lot of those expired Friday, but I do have some positions. Not only that, if the market's weak, I want to be able to take advantage of it too. So 627 is probably the spot, and then yields going down. So good stuff there. All right, so now just individual names. Joby this morning. I mean, yesterday hit highs in the morning. I think it was like 11 o'clock, all the way up to 1855, all time highs. Uh, because despite that, premiums weren't going up in the calls as much as I would have liked them to go up. So I took some more of my October strikes out for close to 400%. Now I just hold a couple of those. So, I can take advantage of if there's overshoot, which is still possible, but I don't, I won't get killed if it pulls back. And 1495 is kind of like the key spot. I would probably get a little more aggressive or look to add some more here. This morning, you had Deutsche Bank adjusting their price target on Joby to $6 from $4. So they raised their price target 50%, but from $4, right? Pretty comical stuff. I mean, what planet have they been on? I get it, right? So, like, I don't know. I haven't looked at the note, so you would have to assume Deutsche Bank assumes the company's not gonna exist. They're not. It's not their plan is not going to execute. They're not going to be a company that does what they say they're going to do. I would assume that's why they have their price target. Otherwise, it's mind-boggling to me. But uh, I mean, obviously, there is risk. I mean, that is a possible outcome, right? That Joby never becomes a revenue generating company. But I still don't think that's the case, right? I think they're further along than they've ever been. The partnerships, things like that. So, Toyota, on and on. Up. So it's down again here in the pre-market, but it was kind of weak over yesterday afternoon. So that even without this analyst note, I think it would probably be trading to the downside. So key couple of days here. If you can find some strength here today and tomorrow, maybe that sets it up for a move to 20. If not, 1495 we'll be watching. But what a monster. And like I was saying last week, like this it could be $30 next week, right? But you have to think at some point there's going to be a pull for no other reason than people taking profits, then becomes one of those little snowball effects. All right, that's that. I also added edit calls yesterday, and if you saw my thought process on that, and it's a name I've followed over the years. First, you have the LOI, 1.3 billion acquisition of Verve, which is in the gene editing space. And then if you take a look at Edit, it's $260 million market cap, 230 million in cash, no debt. They have studies. They just came out with data in February. That was great data. So the stock spiked from $1 all the way up to nearly I think it was 330. So areas to watch today, and we came up to it yesterday, came up to 339. So we can get over the highs yesterday. I think it's off to the races again. If there is weakness, and Edit has in a chance, it's back in February, I wouldn't rule out doing it again. I'll be watching that. I think it's 275 is where we opened yesterday. So if we get down there for some reason, I'll be watching. I might look to add some more strikes. I did get those January calls. So the good thing is it gives time, right? The bad thing, if there is a pullback and the stock never gets back, never finds footing again, staring at those calls for a substantial period of time, which is almost like akin to water torture, right? So hopefully I don't have that scenario. I'm not sure if I'll take some off if it or close it out and revisit if we have weakness here today. I just kind of like wait and see more because I still think at some point these names, especially small cap bios with lots of cash, are going to take off. So that's Edit. SERV, disappointing day yesterday, down 5%. No news or catalyst. Was actually treading water yesterday over 12 in the morning and then just sold off. Again, it's got a 20% short interest. So it's not it's volatile, right? And when the sellers come in, it seems like they pressure it more than a normal stock would, right? So hopefully it holds its ground here. I was looking, I put on a watch list. I might look for like December 20 calls on top of my September's and the rest of my August. So that's a thought there if it holds the 200-day today. Lemonade disappointing as well yesterday. Was chopping around in the morning in the green and then just gave it back into the afternoon, closed down 4.5%. They report earnings August 5th. So, it's wait and see. It won't take much for my calls to get back into the green. Solid rally here today. If not, I might look for some more strikes to encompass earnings. VKTX reports earnings after close tomorrow. I don't know if there would be any fireworks or surprises, but definitely something to be aware of. And then I'm still looking at some earnings plays. The Dexcoms, Deck actually reports, I think it's Thursday. I keep talking about possibly adding something there, but I'll probably wait and see mode there. Um, and that's it, folks. I talked about open yesterday afternoon. I hope it goes to the moon for everybody, right? It's not. I take a quick glance and it's like, Zillow did that business model, couldn't. Yeah, they got out of it, right? If someone's able to do it, that's great. And then if you think that rates are coming down, and that'll spurn an increase in home demand, right? Then that'll work well in conjunction with everything else. But then there's risk, right? I mean, if they buy inventory and then the house prices start to decline, I mean, right off the bat, they're losing money, and then they got to sell the homes. And if there's no demand for homes, right, rates are still high, they might be stuck on inventory that's declining in value. So not only that, when they do sell the homes, so their business is to make money on the buying and selling. So if you buy a home, refurbish or what have you, fix it up, and then sell it, and your margins, and right now I think the margins are like 8%. It's tough. So hopefully they can be successful. Again, I was saying on the rant yesterday afternoon, like some company has to come in and disrupt this real estate market, right? I mean, to me, make the transaction easier, seamless, so on and so forth. All right, let's have a great day, folks. I'll be back. Rock and roll.